Okay, I think we finally arrived at the point where we can begin painting. So I have covered him in the black primer and he looks pretty good. I'm satisfied with the result. His back here is not perfect. He's definitely got a very slight um, little gap showing there, the seam, but you know, what the heck, that's just the gap for his jacket. So that's the seam where his jacket was stitched together. So everything else looks pretty good. The face looks good. The shoes are okay. I think once it's painted, um, we'll be in good shape. So I also put some primer on the base. Um, what I did was I sandblasted this in a blasting cabinet to try to get. It still didn't get a whole lot of the paint off of the grass part. Did get the paint off of the tombstone here, and it gave it kind of a nice texture. It was really just slick and flat, and so this has a bit of a rougher texture to it, which I think will look more like granite, which I'm going to assume this is granite and not marble. So, but I'm going to set this aside, work on the figure first. So, I'm going to try to make the shirt black. And the jacket is going to be dark gray, and the pants are going to be a little bit lighter gray. So usually I just use acrylic artist colors, mix them up myself. In this case, I do have some of this Vallejo German gray, which I think will work for the jacket, at least for a first coat. If it's too dark, I can lighten it up with subsequent, coats after that. But I always try to start with like a darker value and then go lighter and hopefully give it some depth. Um, we'll see what happens. So let's mix up some of this, and I usually just use a plastic palette like this. It's real easy to clean the acrylics off when they're dry. You can just scrape them right off. But I'm going to put a little bit here, squeeze a little bit out. This stuff is kind of thick, not doing really well, but what I also use is this acrylic glazing medium, which will thin it out but not make it too transparent, not too thin, like just watering it down. But this is actually the medium that the paint uses kind of as a binder. So it will make it flow better, and but again, not thin it out too much. A little bit of water, a little bit of medium, and he's going to be all brush painted, at least I think. Generally, I paint most of these things brush painting. I think I can have a lot more control, and I like kind of a painterly effect. I like giving a lot of texture and a lot of different values, which I mean you can do with an airbrush, but it's just a lot more work. I think takes a lot more time. So I'll just start painting it on here and see what happens. So here we go. It's going to be a little hard to see, I'm afraid, because of the dark on dark, but oh yeah, that's quite hard to see, but it gets better. Okay, yeah, so that might be a little bit too dark. I'm just going to give it a real light coat. There we go. Yeah, I kind of like it. Okay. Trying to keep it real thin. I don't want to build up a lot of paint at this point, but and then we'll be adding highlights and shadows, trying to mix it up a little bit. It's not all just a flat one color. Makes it a lot more interesting. and a lot more realistic. I mean, stuff generally doesn't, stuff like cloth doesn't generally appear as one solid color. You know, the light's always reflecting off of it. Angles change and stuff. I'm assuming he's moving around here. He's not just standing still. So let's see what we got. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Oh, oops. I've gone outside the lines. Accidentally got some on his shirt. Okay, well, I can fix that. But, yeah, obviously the idea is not to get it completely finished at this point, but just to get some color down, or some kind of color. It's not much of a color. Okay. Don't want the paint to pool up too much. I don't want to lose this great texture of this cloth. Yeah, it's just because this is so dark next to the black here, I have a really hard time seeing where I put color on and where I haven't. Okay, so you can see a slight difference there. This medium may have a gloss finish to it. That's okay. Ultimately, I will use a matte finish, I believe, in the final result. I don't want him to appear real shiny. So, okay, let's set that aside. Thought he would actually stand up on his base. He was. There we go. All right. So, I'm going to try something else. I got this Artist Acrylic Blick Warm Gray. It's a much lighter gray. Try a little bit of that, mixing it up with the dark of the jacket here. A little bit more medium here. See if I can get some desired effects here. A little bit of, okay, here we go. Let's see what we got. Just a little. That was a bit too much. All right. A little more of a dry brush effect, I think. Let's see, so I want it to be, I want to highlight some of these folds. Not too much. Maybe some across the back. Okay, well, I'm going to need a little touching up. I'm a little out of practice with this stuff here. Don't want to mess it up. Again, it's really hard to see what it's looking like. So he would probably have some highlights on his shoulders. So the light is coming from there, the moonlight. Okay, top of his sleeves here. Smaller brush would probably help. Let's see what I can do. Okay. That's a little better. I'll probably have to come back with some dark here. Maybe that's going to be too dark. I don't know. Okay. So let's try this this lighter gray for the pants. I was thinking of making the pants not quite that light, but see how it looks. I can darken it later, but just a quick kind of have to hold him by the head here. Okay. Yeah, I can add more coats, more layers of this so that make it just so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what shade the pants are. You just know that they're they're a light gray, or they're just a lighter value than the jacket and the shirt. This gray is a little bit blue. But let's see, and it's looking not too bad. Definitely got work to do. Yeah, that seam in there and lap just isn't working really great, but hopefully we can get this up. Oh, sorry. Make sure everybody can see. And I'm pulling his foot off. I pulled his foot off. All right. Well, that's a start. So I got the pants started pretty well, and it's just I gotta get a better lighting setup here because you can't really see it. But couple layers, a layer of the thin or the light gray, and then a layer of the darker gray over it, kind of a wash. And so it looks pretty good. And the jacket, well, that's just basically just started, but I decided I need to put this guy on the base because I keep holding him by the feet and I keep breaking his feet off, and I'm afraid I'm going to break his head off when I have to hold him by the head. So I'm started working on the base here. I just did a quick wash of some green and a little bit of burnt sienna. It's obviously not done yet, but it is slightly greenish here. We don't want it to be like, you know, ballpark green, grass green color, but this is something we can work with. And I got to do the tombstone here, so I'm going to have to airbrush this because I can't brush it. It's not going to look good. So I figured I would start at least with this same warm gray. This is the first layer for the headstone. So just going to use this same stuff. I'll mix it up. Don't need very much. And to thin it out, I've got this airbrush medium, which works really well. I don't use it all the time. A lot of times to thin this artist acrylic for airbrushing, I just use Windex. Windex works great for that. But I'm going to use some of the airbrush medium here and thin it out and mix it up. And I need something to mix with. I guess this will work. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to give it a quick shot here. Oops. Okay, let's see if we can do this. There he is. Okay. Well, unfortunately, things don't always work out the way you want them to. I made a lot of progress painting the figure and the base. Got it pretty well done and used mostly airbrush, turns out. I was originally going to brush paint pretty much everything and started out brush painting everything. But I got going on the airbrush and it just seemed to be doing a much better job and a lot easier, so I've continued with the airbrush. The problem is I had the figure pretty well painted, almost ready to start doing the final details on it, and I left him sitting on the base overnight, and somehow air currents or insects or rodents or something got in here and knocked him over, and he fell onto the concrete floor and he came apart. So here's what I've got. Fortunately, nothing broke. It just came apart at the pieces separated. The bad news is all the work I did on getting that seam up the back is going to have to be redone. Maybe not completely redone. I don't know. We'll see when I get it glued back together. But the face came out pretty good. It needs a little bit more definition to the eyes, I think. Yeah, I see the eye. The one eye, left eye, is a little crooked. I want to try to get a suggestion of the whites of the eyes in there, but I certainly don't want them really bright. I don't want him to look bug-eyed. But I think it's looking good. The shoulders, the upper body came out okay. Fortunately, none of the fingers broke off or anything like that. It's just a matter of getting them glued back together. I got the other piece here. So the seam in the back, we'll just have to see. I mean, touch it up obviously with some paint, but his foot came off. I've got the other foot there, but this is what we've got. It's looking pretty good. We got a few little drips, a few little inconsistencies. I'm trying to make him look a little dusty, a little dirty. He is, part of the Walking Dead, I guess. Anyway, it's so what I need to do now, finally, is get this glued back together, get him glued onto the base, and then be able to finish all the details. The base looks pretty good. This headstone is think it looks okay. Maybe a little more highlights, a little more definition to the lettering there so it stands out a little better, although not too much. Don't want to overdo it. And the grass, I think, looks acceptable. It's didn't want it to be too take away from the figure, but let's see, how can we do this so I can get everything here? So that's what we got. So I will get him put back together and move forward and hopefully get him finished soon. Okay, so I've got him glued back together. Looks pretty good. At the back, I have tried to fill in this gap with some CA glue, and it could use a little bit more sanding, and then just some Tamiya putty, I think, to finish it off, and then we should be good. Once I get this flattened out, there's still a little ridge here, then I will attach him to the base, and we will finalize Frankenstein here. So let me see, what can I lean him up against? Maybe he can up against the water bottle there. Maybe a little bit of okay, let go. There we go. So, hopefully that'll do it. Everything else looks pretty good. He's ready to attach the base, then some final touch-ups, and we should be complete. Okay, so this putty looks pretty dry. Looks pretty good, so I'm doing a little sanding here. Okay, so that feels and looks much better. Well, we'll see. Can't really tell. I'm going to need to paint it, so I'm going to see if I can touch this up with a little bit of CA glue. See how it looks. Oh, this is definitely going to need some more sanding. Okay, we'll keep at it. Okay, so we've been drying for a while. The putty looks good and dry. Let's see if we can get this finished off and ready to paint. Okay, I'm going to do a little painting, see how it came out. Got some Vallejo German gray here. This will be a good base. See if we can get some out here. This paint is very old. Kind of icky. If I have to, I'll add a little medium here. Some matte medium. Put some there in case I need it. Okay. Alright. So let's try and see what we got. Okay, so maybe I'm just going to go with this. So I've got a little bit of the lighter color here, the warm gray that I've been using for just the lighter tones. Maybe I can mix up a little bit of that, some darker. This dark gray is really, it just sucks up all the color of the light one. Okay, well, we've got him attached to the base, and I think he's attached pretty firmly. I used some Gorilla Glue, and unfortunately, we've got some... looks like he's coming out of the slime or something, so I'm going to have to fix that. Just another thing to fix, but I did a little more sanding, a little more work on his back, so I'm going to have to go over where I had painted it, so we will use the airbrush for that. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can do this. That's good for a first coat, I believe. Looks a little better. We'll see. This airbrush medium, unfortunately, dries kind of glossy, so ultimately we will be using a matte finish on it, so that will make a huge difference. Oops. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I've been adding a little more of the lighter gray, the warm gray. Try to bring out some of the folds in the clothing. I'm a little concerned about this area here, right down the middle. May need a couple more coats, and maybe even work it with the brush, but I think it's looking a little better now. Trying to bring some different tones in here, so he's not so monotone, not so one color. I'm trying to blend it in. Give a little more drama to his appearance. He is a monster after all. He's looking pretty good. I see the face maybe needs a little more highlights, a little more. This line is pretty definite. I'd like to a little lighter there, the side of the cheek. Soften that up a bit, and I just know I didn't put my hand in it. And just some final touch-ups. I mean, you could keep doing this forever. At some point, you have to just say, okay, well, he's done. But I definitely see some areas that need to be fixed up. Just, this is kind of stands out. And soften up some of these folds, but and definitely have to fix this glue there. I think I can make that glue disappear with some green paint, but have to do something to the hands too. I don't know. I don't really want to paint the fingernails there, but I need to do something to suggest, to bring out the fingernails a little bit. So not necessarily paint them all one color. And then once we get a matte finish on him, should look much better. Get rid of this glossiness here. So let this dry and we will continue. Okay, well, I've done a lot of touching up. The back, I think, is as good as I'm going to get it. I've touched up and tried to highlight some of the clothing, try to make it look dramatic enough. His face, tried to work on the eyes. Let me see if I can do this. It's, I think he looks pretty good. So for now, I think about the only thing to do is for a coat of matte varnish, just some a matte finish, because I still don't like this shiny coat. Hopefully we can get rid of this. The shoe looks a little better. I was able to get rid of most of the effects of the Gorilla Glue. Hopefully he will stay in place. So I'm just going to give him a coat of acrylic medium, just acrylic matte medium. I've thinned it down with some water, and just a quick shot of that overall. That should get rid of the glossiness and still be able to, if I need to, make any changes. And hopefully it'll affect the colors as well. Give us a little... This place is a total mess. Not going to worry so much about the grass right now. Of course, that's what I said in the beginning. That's how my troubles started in the first place. Well, whoa, like that. I'm concerned about that area back there. That's not good. That definitely needs fixing. And now we're getting some gray color. Okay, well... So how's he look? Yeah, he's got a couple of bad spots. We'll see how he looks after this dries. But, okay, I definitely see some areas for improvement. Maybe a bit much, but okay. I think we're good for now. We will see what he looks like after this dries. A little touching up maybe, and then it will be time for the final reveal. So thank you for sticking with me, and we'll see you in the next installment here. Okay, well, I think I did everything that needed to be done, touched up everything that needed to be touched up. I think I'm going to call Frankenstein here finished. I think he's come a long way from where he started. So this is what we've got. So I think the face came out pretty good. I tried to put something in those eyelids, and without without being too pop-eyed, without being too bug-eyed. I think he looks pretty good. Skin tone is about what I wanted. I was looking for a gray-green. I had hoped the suit would be a little bit darker, but it just kind of worked out this light gray color. But he does have the black shirt, so overall I think it's not too monotone. Looks pretty good. The back could have been better. I fixed it kind of best I could after his fall. So we come around the front. I will also leave some longer shots so you can see him a little better. But the feet, legs look okay. The ground, the tombstone. Tried to make it, I see we've got a little gap there. Tried to make it a little more realistic. Hope I succeeded. I think he looks pretty good. So there he is overall. Pretty pleased. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment, good or bad. And hit the like button if you like it. I would appreciate it. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more interesting stuff coming. More restorations. I'm going to try to do other types of kits. I mainly work in aircraft, so I hope to do some vacuform kits, also some resin conversions, some scratch building, I hope, and some more restorations. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.